Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Plastic Surgery Addicts Support Group. I'm seeing a lot of new faces here, and I must say I'm very disappointed. As always, I'm back with Jackson, and today we're talking about Batman, also known as Batman 89, since there's so many Batman movies now. And to my knowledge, you haven't seen this before, right?
Well, I have seen it. I
Oh,
saw it on Monday.
yeah, you've seen it now, but before that, you hadn't seen this before?
No, I hadn't.
So, because I grew up watching it and I absolutely love this movie so much. What did you think?
I thought it was actually real freaking. It was a bit nice. I liked it.
As a kid, obviously, I watched it over and over and over and I just liked it for what it was. But as I've grown up, just watching the way Bruce Wayne does the things he does and the humor that he can carry is just as interesting now as seeing Batman as it was when I was younger.
Yeah, I feel like he was a pretty good Bruce Wayne,
You know,
Michael
even
Keaton.
even like Knox and like all these other side characters, that they're very fun to watch. I'm never bored
Mm.
in this movie. In terms of like Gotham cities, this is my favorite by far. Just because, The Dark Knight, it's in New York and filmed in
Isn't it?
Chicago.
Yeah, it's just Chicago.
Yeah, and you know, I get with
Mm.
Marvel superheroes, a lot of them,
Yeah, and a
Spider-Man's
lot
New
of those are
York,
just
Iron Man,
New
all of them.
York or whatever.
But with all the DC characters, you got Metropolis, Gotham. I don't feel like any of those places should feel real. And with this, you've got all these matte paintings, and the architecture almost gives it this timeless feel. Instead of, oh yeah,
Mm.
this is the time period when this movie was
Yeah,
done.
it's not like this is New York in like 2005.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that. And
Mm.
this movie really paved the way for everything. And I'm going to talk about all sorts of things in detail that it changed and introduced that were new. But before this movie came out, all Batman was the 1966 Adam West TV show and movie. That's all Batman ever was. The idea of him dripped in black and being gothic and all this just didn't really exist. There was elements in some comic books that have been adapted into animated movies that I'd love to watch with you some point down the line as well. But
Yeah.
it really started everything. The only superhero movie that was successful before this was Superman, and I think the sequel came out before this one as well. But Batman was it also changed action films. I mean, it was the very end of the 80s, and it was the end of an era with the you have to be really buff like Stallone and Schwarzenegger. This was the first, guy
I
that
mean, there was Alien.
what year was Alien?
That was the 80s, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Um,
but like that was the movie that really marked the era of, hey, Michael Keaton isn't really buff. He's just wearing a buffed up suit, and that became more about the visual effects rather than someone putting in the gym work and all that as well.
Alien was 79.
Oh, 79. Shit. I should know that, and I don't. But yeah, and there's a lot of people like Stallone that recall Batman as being that movie that changed what that was like. And
Hmm.
there's just so much I love about this movie. I remember I had a long period where I hadn't seen it for a long time, and I watched it again a couple years ago, and it blew me away because I'd completely forgotten that the opening wasn't Batman's parents getting killed. It was a dupe that Batman already exists and he's here and he's going to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, even though the parents still die.
Yeah.
But even this movie back in 89 didn't feel like it had to really hit you over the head with the origin story like every modern Batman movie ever. I can't count the amount of times I have to watch his parents get shot and pearls flung
Yeah.
in the air.
Well, I mean, you have to watch that in this film too.
You do still have to watch it, and this movie gets a pass because the general public doesn't know as much. I'm not sure how much the 60s show clarified it, but here it's okay. It gets a pass. And
You just said you were glad it didn't do that, but then when I point out that it did it, you just give it a pass.
this movie does get a pass, all right, because it was the first. That's why it gets a pass. Now,
Yeah, right.
you messaged me briefly when you were watching it that you said it was really funny when Batman runs.
Yeah.
What do you,
Um.
what do you think of just the costume in general and the way it all looks?
I feel like it's probably not a very unpopular opinion that the costume looks a bit silly. I feel
I
like a lot of people probably think that.
Well, you're in the minority because a lot of people really love this look, and it was a subtle thing. Not a lot of people know about it, but when in The Dark Knight they finally made it so that Batman's head could turn properly, like independent of his neck for the first time, there were a lot of people that didn't like it. They liked the fact that his shoulders always had to pivot with his cowl because it was a bit more unhuman like in the way that he moved. But it's just loved here. I don't like the one thing I don't like is the bat logo has the extra two little spikes at the bottom of like the wings on the logo. Just tiny nitpick, just because it's different from like the logo on the cover of the movie everywhere.
That is like the tiniest thing you could have mentioned.
I know, but I'm putting it out there. I don't like it, but it's doesn't matter. The whole cow, Michael Keaton couldn't hear in the thing, like he was completely deaf and very claustrophobic in there. But he said that actually helped, to really get him in the character and just kind of feeling inward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see that.
And I really dig the design. There's some impressive shots, like when he's at Axis Chemicals for the first time, and he kind of like swings in and sees Jack Napier for the first time. He comes through like some smoke and just the right type of shadows. You can't see his eyes underneath, and it looks really good still. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Now this
Actually, I'm just now I'm looking at pictures of it. That actually does look pretty cool.
I mean, considering all we had before that was spandex, you know,
I mean, that design is also pretty good
it
though.
is. It is. Have you seen bloody Adam West dance in that thing? Oof. I actually really would like to go back and watch that movie as well at some point.
That would be fun to
I've got
do.
the entire television series on Blu-ray as well. That was
Nice. I've got a bag
hard
of
to get.
twisties.
You got a bag of twists, bro. I'm jealous.
Chicken twisty.
Chicken
Party bag.
twisties. I'm going to kind of derail the podcast a bit. I'm just going to jump around. I might even throw some trivia in there now and then. But can I talk about how crazy some of the one-liners are in this movie? This has some of the most quotable lines I've ever fucking heard. Like when Bruce Wayne just starts acting out and he's like, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get
Yeah.
nuts." I absolutely love it. I love that the Joker, he has this is the only Joker I know that has all the physical gags and still makes them somehow lethal. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to mention that this is the first because I haven't actually watched a lot of Batman stuff. I pretty much just watched like The Dark Knight, the new one,
yeah.
and whatnot. But I very much appreciated that the Joker in this movie was actually like funny.
Yeah, no, his humor is fantastic. I've got a lot of Jack Nicholson yet, but
Um,
I love, he's got the punching glove that smashes the TV. He's got the
yeah,
flower that shoots acid and like he drops the bell at the end. The
and the
electric hand buzzer,
mm,
And again, like I said, this movie laid the ground for a lot of what was to come. This rippled into the Lego games as well as the soundtrack and
mm.
just kind of changed the way everyone perceived these characters, The way Jack Nicholson played Joker kind of set the bar as this is the Joker and there's no one else that can play the Joker. And that's why it'll be really fun to dive into the Dark Knight trilogy at some point. But I just wanted to point out that the physical gags are amazing. I absolutely love them.
The fuck. I mean, it's not even just that. It's like just like the things he says half the time.
Oh, yeah. I've got some quotes. I got one right here where he's like, "Batman, Batman, can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town
Yeah,
needs an enema." And then he blows on the whistle. Or even he's like, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?"
that
Huh?
that line was amazing.
I thought
When he
as someone
puts
that hasn't seen it before, that'll be amazing. He just out of nowhere he pulls the glasses real quick.
yeah,
I I love that church fight because it's so like half-assed and thrown together. It's just him punching
Mm.
Joker and him falling through plywood like every
Yeah.
every second minute. Uh, my favorite quote though, and probably my favorite scene in this movie, is where Batman's in the Batwing and he's flying and he gets like the I don't know if you'd call it a sky hook and like grabs all of Joker's balloons.
Yeah, it'd be a skyhook.
And Joker says, "My balloons. Those are my balloons." And then he goes off. He stole my balloons. Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things? And then
Yeah.
Bob gun. Bob gives him a gun. He just shoots Bob, who's been there the whole
I,
time. And then he's
I
like,
was gutted when he shot Bob.
like after he shoots Bob, he's, "I'm gonna need a minute or two alone, boys." And he looks so disappointed and upset that his balloons were
Yeah.
stolen. It's just amazing. It's one amazing thing after another. Probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, no, I told you this while I was watching it, but the scene where he's like hijacks the news to have the commercial playing,
Yeah.
that commercial is great.
Oh, which one? He's using
Oh,
brand X.
yeah. Yeah, the first one was the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Even when he's taking over like I'm not sure if it's the mayoral campaign or something, but like they're
and
like,
he
"Hey,
pushes them off screen.
yeah, yeah, yeah." It's like, "Hey, we're not willing to negotiate," and he just kind of pushes them away and says, "Not 20 million in cash." um, from here on out, I just got a bunch of trivia that I thought was interesting. That either you probably don't know. There's a couple of things I actually didn't know when researching into it that were amazing, but this film went through about a decade of production in terms of how they're going to make this movie, who's going to make it, who's going to play Batman. At one point, Pierce Brosnan turned down the role of Bruce Wayne, and he went and he met with Tim Burton for the role, but he couldn't take the character seriously, so Pierce Brosnan was out. One that was much more heavily considered, and I think Spielberg wanted to make this movie at one point. I'm not sure if this is the actor he had in mind, but I know that at one point Mel Gibson was the first choice to play Bruce Wayne, but he had to turn it down because he was already committed to Lethal Weapon 2. He was eventually considered to play Two-Face in Batman Forever, which is the third movie, but was forced to turn it down due to his commitment to Braveheart. So what could have been having that madman in a Batman movie or any of these movies? I don't know.
Harvey Dent in
In Batman
this
Forever.
one.
In this one, oh my god, what's the actor's name? I always get him confused.
He's like, he looks like Eddie Murphy. That's what. No, it's not Eddie Murphy. It's the guy. Isn't he the fourth Ghostbuster?
No.
That's somebody else.
No, that's
No.
that's someone else.
I'm, I'm getting I'm getting my black people with mustaches confused.
Yeah, no, well,
Um,
I'm thinking of Apollo Creed from Rocky, and he's in the first Predator, but that's not him either.
Yeah, no, that ain't him. I could have sworn it says like Dent above him. When
he's got a three name, if that makes sense. That's what I remember.
Yeah, no.
Like how you got Tommy Lee Jones, he's got like a three name.
Yeah.
He was gonna. I think I actually have something on him, where he was contracted to be Two-Face at some point, and he eventually got bought out of that deal, but it was like reserved for him until they wanted to do it. And it would have been amazing to see Tim Burton pull that off, because Tim Burton wanted to do like the white hair on one half and, really blow it up. But anyway,
Billy D. Williams.
that's it. Yeah, I reckon he's great. He doesn't have much here. It's interesting, this movie, you've got like about 19 minutes at the start before you even meet Bruce Wayne, just setting up the world, and it's just something you don't get nowadays. It's just crazy. But back on the track of...
Oh, he played fucking Lando? How did I forget that?
Yeah, Lando, that's who he was. Yeah. But on the track of casting for Batman, eventually, Tim Burton, he met with numerous actors for the title role, and they fit the traditional square-jawed heroic look, but he eventually realized that there's a reason why a guy dresses up as a bat, he's trying to create a menacing persona. You know, if these guys are so jacked, they wouldn't need to dress like that. And he thought Michael Keaton, he's got the crazy eyes and he did Beetlejuice and stuff. And he would physically need to create a costume to make him scarier. So he just kind of fit what he wanted. You know, whatever Tim Burton's idea of Batman was. And when they cast Michael Keaton as Batman, my God, did it cause controversy amongst fans. You know,
You told me this the other day.
Yeah, there was 50,000 protest letters sent to Warner Brothers offices like, hey, this guy's not Batman. He's balding. He's not shredded. He's this, that, all sorts of things. And obviously, a teaser trailer was eventually dropped and everyone just shut up. But yeah, there were 50,000 letters. People were upset about this. One of the things that this Batman gave us that just became a staple of the character was lowering the voice or changing the voice. They really wanted something to differentiate Bruce Wayne from Batman, and initially they were going to use like contact lenses when he was Batman, but they opted for him just using a lower register than he was portraying as Bruce Wayne. And yeah, it became a staple of future portrayals.
He still had the makeup on around his eyes.
Yeah. There's a great scene in the next one to do with the eye makeup. I can't wait to bring that up. But yeah, the lower voice, it became a staple in television games. You know, especially like Christian Bale, Kevin Conroy, even. But another thing that Michael Keaton pioneered with this is that he came up with the famous "I'm Batman" line right at the start. And in the script, it was "I am the Night," but you know, it's evolved over and over to "I am Vengeance, I am the Night, I'm Batman" in the animated series. But however, I am Iron Man. It was considered. They were sleeping on it, man. I mean, look how successful it is now.
Yeah.
But according to a producer named John Peters, during his interview in The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, the iconic line, "I'm Batman," was originally, "I'm Batman, motherfucker."
What?
Apparently, that was the original line. "I'm Batman, motherfucker." That would have been amazing.
Is this kid? Well, actually, I was gonna mention Batman like murders.
He murders
people in this movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, at what point did it become like part of like, you know, something everybody knows about Batman is that he never kills people?
So before this movie came out, I'm pretty sure we had the Killing Joke comic come out beforehand, and that really addressed, you know, why he doesn't kill people and how when he doesn't kill Joker, they do this tango that just kind of goes on forever. And it was kind of established, but I guess like Tim Burton just didn't give a shit. Both him and Michael Keaton, they hadn't read much of the source material before. Tim Burton had read The Killing Joke and he understood the fundamentals of this character and how it's more a tortured, you know, character to do with more of his psychology rather than he's a hero that's going to beat people up. He's a guy that dresses as a bat. He's got issues. You know, maybe it's almost a personality disorder. And yeah, he kills, and in the next movie, he kills harder. Like, I don't want to spoil too much.
It's fine. I'll see it in a couple weeks.
He sets one guy on fire. He sticks
many people. He blew up the fucking chemical plant or whatever.
Yeah, he did.
People in it.
He also gets like 6 sticks of dynamite and sticks it to a guy's chest and throws him down a hole and walks away as it explodes.
What?
he really murders. The sequel does a lot to really. It's a hot debate, I suppose. Now, back then, it was this movie is the best of the 4, easy, and I do think that the Joker in this does top what Danny DeVito does and Michelle Pfeiffer, our Lord and Savior, in the next one. But in the next movie, the suit looks better. Instead of abs, it's got like proper armored plating. They've got the headpiece on much better. there's a lot that they improve on, and just Tim Burton basically doubles down and says, we're going to go darker. We're going to make this bloodier, gorier. It's just going to get, whatever the city's like, let's just double down on the intensity.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like watching Batman Returns, and then other times it's Batman. I kind of flip-flop between the two. But let's stick on 89 for now. Let's talk about the Batmobile. This Batmobile design is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love it. And there's a real funny story behind the design of it too. Terry Ackland-Snow, spent all this time designing it, coming up with it. He created a life-size model. It was like, hey, Tim Burton, this is it. What do you think? And he turned to him and he said, great, where's the door? And the design team suddenly realized that the design lacked any doors. And so they opted to, inspired by the cockpits of like jets, come up with the idea of the sliding cockpit. But they hadn't thought of how you're going to get in the thing. Yeah, I just love the idea that like they brought Tim Burton in. They're so proud of themselves, and he's like, great, where's the door? How do I get in the thing? And they had some problems with it.
How'd they build the model without realizing that you can't get in it?
No, I don't know.
Like, if it was just like, designs on paper and whatnot, I'd understand it a bit better. It's like, oh, they forgot to draw a door. But
yeah.
Tim Burton's like walking around this thing, like looking for a handle somewhere.
Yeah. No, the quote I got is, upon seeing the initial life-size model of the Batmobile, Tim Burton turned to art director Terry Ackland-Snow and said, great, where's the door? So, yeah, there was a life-size version built, and there was a couple of them, but they were just extremely big. One of the things I did know is that the designers of the Batmobile hadn't taken into account the additional 4 inches that Batman's cowl added to Michael Keaton's height. And so, as such, the cowl got stuck in the sliding cockpit for the first time that it was tested. Since the cockpit seat was already positioned as low as possible, they had to use an alternate cowl with shorter ears to be made with scenes with the Batmobile. So if you watch carefully, all of a sudden his ears get shorter just as he jumps in.
Here I was thinking 4 inches wasn't much.
God damn it. But alright, so now I'm going to start getting us into the Joker. Robin Williams was offered the role of Joker when Jack Nicholson hesitated, and he had even accepted the role. When producers approached Nicholson again and told him that Williams would take the part if he didn't, Nicholson then took the role, and Williams was released, and Williams resented being used as bait. He not only refused to play Riddler in Batman Forever, they wanted to get him back, but he also refused to be involved in any Warner Brothers production until the studio apologized.
They only did this as like a cheeky
Yeah. Like they were going to use him, but Jack Nicholson was their first preference. And it's my next point here that Tim Burton doesn't even recall a conversation as to alternatives for the Joker as Jack Nicholson. He's quoted as saying, just so perfect, he is the Joker.
I mean, yeah, he really kills it.
Yeah. He adds that the only real worry was that maybe Nicholson was too perfect for the role. You want to make it Joker, but retain Jack Nicholson in some form. And I think this is something I heard a long time ago. When they were talking about Batman, Joker, and casting and whatnot, someone had a newspaper and had a picture of Jack Nicholson in it, and they just drew the Joker makeup on him and went, yep, there you go. That's the one. Because you only have to look at The Shining and the way that he smiles and acts. It's perfect. And, Jack Nicholson, he was a little hesitant at first, but then, very much grew on him, and he usually gets paid at this point in time around 10 million per role he does, but in this one he was only taking 6 million. But he was taking
only 6 million.
But there was a loop in his contract where he would get a percentage of gross from the film, and no one knew how big this movie was going to be.
Oh, he would have made fucking bang.
And due to its massive box office take, he took home around 60 million. Now, when adjusting for inflation, back then, that's $143 million.
It's like more than
You're like, it's the budget for a movie, man.
yeah.
um,
Holy shit!
yeah. I also love the way that Jack Nicholson went about his
What was the budget
schedule.
for this movie?
Um, I don't actually have that down, but I have my computer here so I can find out real quick. Uh,
It's like
uh,
more than fucking Robert Downey Jr. gets for a Marvel movie.
I'm not sure. Uh, I've got two here. 35 million USD or 48 million USD. So it's
Maybe that's like
because
something
you've
else.
got the Batman, and
Oh yeah.
it's a bit hard to. Anyway, it made a lot of money. It did
Yeah.
incredibly well. The only thing it came second to my knowledge, was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Domestically, it was the biggest, but internationally, Indiana Jones outperformed it in '89.
Oh yeah.
I love that Jack Nicholson, he had this very strict schedule stipulated into his contract, like for how he would work around the set. And he was known for having very late evenings up to 3 a.m. before he would get home, as he dined out every night or attended small parties. And Michael Keaton would arrive early in the mornings, and Nicholson would come in at around 10 a.m. at the earliest and greet Keaton, then sit in his chair. He would then tilt his head back and fall asleep immediately as the makeup artists worked on his prosthetics. Oh, good morning. Sit down.
I mean, hey, at least it'd be holding still.
Yeah. I'm so glad Jack was very turned around on this film, because at after it was done and he made the box office, and he had a character where he had so much freedom to do what he wanted to do, because he's just insane. He could say and do anything and it was still in character. That he loved it that much that at one point he was watching the film once a week at his house. After it came out, just watching it every week. And I don't know, he must have had heaps of guests over, I don't know. But that was something he did. Now, the Joker's makeup in this film. In the film, he's got the chalky white face paint over himself, and in the script it was specified that the Joker would have to take the flesh-colored makeup off to reveal the white skin underneath, meaning that the makeup effects team had to find a way to take one layer of makeup off and leave another intact. And just before I finish up how they did this, they could have had yeah.
In the movie, his skin was white.
Yeah, his skin's bleached white. It's not makeup, yeah.
I got it the wrong way around. I thought his skin wasn't bleached white, but he just kept painting himself white.
No, it was white. Dropped in the vat of chemicals, it bleached his skin white and turns his hair green.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Yeah, they they did the multiple layers of makeup, and had to remove one but keep the other. They could have just had him normally be there, right? Skin color normal, and then just wipe white face paint onto his forehead, and then it would look like he's taking off the layer of skin and revealing the white bleached makeup.
Yeah.
They could have just done that, but no, they came up with a solution. They painted Nicholson with white Pax paint, as they always used, and then put a thin layer of food-grade silicone oil on, which nothing sticks to, on top of it. Then they put flesh-colored grease paint and painstakingly painted it to where it was literally sitting on top of the oils. Then they airbrushed and faded it to make it look more natural. And then after soaking the Joker's handkerchief in isopropyl basically they're just alcohol, and Nicholson was able to wipe his face and it would strip the grease paint but leave the white Pax paint intact. That's after he does the Dewey buzzer and kills one of the gangsters at the start of the film.
Yeah.
On the day the actors playing the Joker's goons were introduced to Jack Nicholson, he reportedly came to meet them after shooting a scene and walked down the line. He walked down the line of them like a general inspecting his troops in full makeup and costume. I imagine it would have been terrifying.
Yeah, I'm imagining it like fucking Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah. uh, this is the first Batman adaptation to depict the Joker's origin story. It remains the only film to do this until Batman: The Killing Joke, whose source material was a big inspiration for the making of Batman '89 to begin with. The Killing Joke movie is uh, the problem with that movie. I'm gonna derail this a bit. That animated movie got an R rating. We were like, hell yes, this is gonna be awesome. The story in the comic books is quite short. It's only like a couple issues kind of thing, and they just did it panel for panel, word for word, and that's great. But realized, oh, the movie's only like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. We need to have something else, and so they created this own story for Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, and put like a half an hour story in front of the movie that's just complete garbage. So half the movie's incredible and half of it's just horrid. And like as the horrid part finishes, it fades to black and then it fades up and then the movie actually starts. It's really bad.
So this like starting part, what bearing does that have on the rest of the movie?
None. Joker's not even
Why
in
is
the
it
first
there?
half. It just it's so weird. It's like, is it a good movie? Because when it's good, it's good. They're adapting the story, but then
So is it just there to make it like feature length?
yeah, that's it. They're like,
But
oh
the
shit, it's not long
Lorax
enough.
movie is only like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
the
so
first one, not the Illumination one.
that's probably the only animated Batman movie I can think of that should be a good one that just isn't. Because
Yeah,
it's
I
yeah.
when that came out a few years ago, I always heard people saying, "Oh, this is fucking trash."
Yeah, it even
Um,
got a couple of like cinema releases. Like people were very excited to see this because the story is fantastic. And yeah, so yeah, the Killing Joke. I don't know if we'll ever get to that. Maybe one day. Um, but back on '89 again, there was a scene that was cut from the parade sequence at the end. It made it to the comic book version of the script, where the crowd discovered that all of the money that the Joker was handing out was counterfeit. In a follow up to Joker's earlier line that he wanted his
yeah,
one.
I was totally
Yeah,
expecting that to happen
yeah,
when
it
he
was.
said, because when he says that he was gonna give out $20 million, I was like, where does he have $20 million from?
Yeah,
And then when
no.
he's throwing it out, I'm waiting for them to like it to show these people seeing that it just has his face on it, and then
Yeah,
the gas comes down or whatever.
yeah. Well, the
But he
scene
just
was.
has $20 million,
Yeah, well, the scene was there and it was cut
and he gave it
ultimately.
away because
But
most like half those people got away with it.
yeah, no. But yeah, they were gonna do it. And harken back to the line, "My face on the $1 bill," and the Joker's picture was gonna be in place of George Washington's. And I just thought that's awesome. It's a shame it should have been there.
Why did that get cut? Did they say or just
I don't have a reason for why it was cut, but
no?
because it meant the comic book version, people were like, "Oh, okay, this is a thing. This is what happened." I don't know why it was cut. It could have been anything. Could have been runtime, whatever.
It literally would have taken like 2 seconds
Yeah, it wouldn't have been
of the
that long.
runtime.
It's cool. It's really cool. I wish it wasn't there.
Hmm.
But the name of the Joker's alter ego, Jack Napier, was created by the filmmakers because in the comics prior to this, he was never given a name, and ever since he's never had a name. If he's to be given a name, it is Jack Napier. I think there's a Joe Kerr, and so
Yeah.
it's short for like Joker if you put it together.
I mean, there's also Arthur Fleck, but that's kind of a whole different thing.
Yeah, you got Arthur Fleck as well. And
Um,
personally, I like the no name. I like the Heath Ledger. He's just this force that just kind of comes from nowhere. And the less you know, the more interesting it is to watch this person do things. But yeah, it was created uniquely for this film. And this is something I didn't know, and I thought this was interesting. According to a 2009 interview with MTV, Willem Dafoe said that he had been in very early talks for the role of Joker. Whether he or the studio passed is unknown, but god damn it, I still want Willem Dafoe as the Joker. Like,
Yeah.
I know he seems like the obvious choice, but he doesn't have to be the obvious Joker. You could still do a unique spin on it. I just think
Hmm.
he's a terrifying human being, and he should be portrayed as such. He's got that drip though. I ain't gonna
Oh yeah.
lie. We've seen him with that drip.
Willem Dafoe in the purple suit would go hard.
Oh, dude, I imagine like the Arkham games where he's got like his like jacket coat has like the long two. I don't know what you
Yeah,
call them.
it's a tailcoat.
Yeah, like tailcoat. You know, in that thin pinstriped suit. I can just imagine that on Willem Dafoe, and I wish that's kind of what we got with like the Batman, this new franchise they're doing. Like that would be
Yeah.
so cool because they're trying to go real dark with it, and that's. I mean, like if it looks like when Joker's smiling, he's almost bleeding from his mouth all the time, like because Willem Dafoe's teeth are scary, man. I don't know if anyone knows this, man, but it's true.
Hmm.
Um, the music for this film. Do you know who composed this film?
John Williams.
He was actually who the studio wanted, and it could have been very interesting to see how that turned out.
Oh.
But John Williams didn't do it. It was Danny Elfman. Now,
Oh, that's right.
he
Yeah.
created the Batman theme, and he also is
Yeah.
the man responsible for our lovely Spider-Man trilogy theme. And my God, this is the only time I think I'm glad John Williams didn't do the music for a film. I mean, he can take Superman, but this is somehow so beautiful and so dark and disturbing and gothic at the same time. And it can just flip between notes in the same song. It's incredible. But this theme, every time I watch this movie now, I think of like the Lego game. Like that's how much of the Lego
Yeah.
games I played that it's like you're stealing this song from the games. But yeah, it's iconic. It was so legendary that it was used for the trailers for Batman Forever, the third one, and Batman and Robin, the fourth one. Despite the fact that Elfman did not do the scores for those two films.
Is the theme in those movies though?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the trailers, but like that's how iconic and synonymous it became. I got
There's also the iconic '60s show theme.
you do have that. Imagine a darker, brooding take on that theme. No, nah. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Some other notes, just cool, interesting tidbits. I have at the beginning of the film, Knox enters the press room and he's handed a cartoon sketch of a Batman, and
Yeah.
it's the bat in the pinstripe suit, and it's signed by Bob Kane, who is the co-creator of Batman. He drew the thing up and gave it to him because he wanted to cameo but didn't get the opportunity to, and yeah, he ended up being sick, couldn't appear, couldn't reschedule it, so that drawing's in there. Batman, just for the record, he's also created by Bill Finger. Bob Kane's a little bit of
Finger.
he's a little bit of a prick. Well, Bob Kane liked to think he was Bruce Wayne. That's how he carried himself, and then Stan Lee was the real humble, just everyman, and it was really funny when those two spent time together. I'll talk about the story of the Batman '89 premiere after some of these other last bits of trivia that I have. But yes, Bob Kane wanted to be there. He couldn't. He took credit for creating Batman in its entirety for the longest time. And you'll see in all the new movies now it's credited by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Kind of like how Stanley had Steve Ditko do the drawings, you know. I think Bill Finger really helped come up with the idea of the Joker and where all that went. But anyway, another story. Before the Joker enters Gotham City's cathedral with Vicky, he requests over the walkie-talkie for transportation for two to arrive in 10 minutes. Between entering the cathedral and the arrival of Joker's helicopter, the action inside the cathedral unfolds in real time. It is exactly 10 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the Joker's goons are time accurate, man, and I gotta respect that. You know, it's the hustle, it's the grind. I remember it was a fact that I found, but I remember even being a kid and like timing it just for shits and giggles. And it's a basically 10 minutes. Um, so there's four of these movies, and things are bound to change, and not for the better. But there are a couple actors that actually remain consistent throughout all four. And that's Pat Hingle, who plays Commissioner Gordon. We have the same Commissioner Gordon for all four. And Michael Gove? I don't know. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's Alfred, the guy that plays Alfred.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the same butler just talking with all these different Batman. It's supposed to be, and because of those consistencies with both the Commissioner and Alfred, when you get to the fourth film with George Clooney and Arnold, and it's just so backwards and completely different, it's still supposed to be the same universe and canon. It's weird, but it's an anthology now. It's four movies, and this is something I found today, just before getting all this stuff together, and this blew my mind. That this is the only live-action Batman movie, the only one still to date to feature only one supervillain from the comics. Yeah, I know. I hope there's people at home right now going, "What? Hang on, what? What?" Because the next one, Batman Returns, you got Penguin and Catwoman. Then the third one, you have Two-Face and Riddler. The fourth one, you have Bane, Poison Ivy, and Mr. Freeze. I know people forget Bane, but he is there. Batman Begins, you got Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow. The Dark Knight, you have Joker and Two-Face. The Dark Knight Rises, you have Bane and Catwoman. And now you have the Batman with Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman. This is the only one. Even the 60s movie had like everyone in it. And it blew my mind. I still can't kind of comprehend it. Like,
If there was any other villains, they'd probably just get overshadowed.
oh yeah. Oh, I'm happy about the way that it is here. It's fantastic. Some other notes. Apparently, Tim Burton was sick pretty much every day working on this movie. Just horribly sick. He had a horrible time. This was his first big budgeted movie, and all of a sudden, people were coming in like, "Hey, we want Prince music," and he's like, "What?" So,
yeah, I wanted to mention.
Joker's bopping to Prince.
Is Joker a fan of Prince? He plays two Prince songs.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of the fucking boombox, the other thing I wanted to mention, I fucking lost it in the scene where he's talking to Vicky Vale in her apartment.
Yeah.
And he is playing like the romantic music, and then he walks away. He walks past the guy with the boombox, and you find out that the music was playing in universe on the boombox.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's just normal background music.
I love it. The whole I'm the world's first homicidal artist or something that he says. He's just great. Even that is like split off into some of the video games. He's about art and making things he's pretty when he does stuff.
Oh, when he sees the like statue and he matches its pose.
Yeah. I love that scene. The entire like museum thing.
Yeah,
it's great. But yeah, Tim Burton reportedly did not like the Prince music, and I don't know how I feel about it because it kind of. I mean, it certainly feels like the one thing that does not fit, and it's the one thing that hasn't aged well with this movie. Because, that was studio, like, Prince music, this is what we have to have, this is gonna, like, change everything. But now it's just, I don't know, it's kind of added another unique flavor to, like, this Joker that he listens to Prince.
It just makes me think that Jack Napier is a fan of Prince.
Yeah, man, he's into that. It's hard to imagine when he was quiet and stern at the start that he would dance to something like that.
Like he would just go home and
just pump Prince and just start breaking it down.
While he's on his way to and from work, he's just like listening to his Walkman with Prince on it.
I like to imagine like he would try to find like enclosed spaces with no people and just start breakdancing. Like, like no,
No, I just imagine
yes,
you know the scene when Patrick Bateman's in his office listening to Lady in Red.
yeah,
I'm
like
just
that.
imagine like Jack Napier just sitting there listening to Prince.
Yeah. He's like, one day I'm gonna just bop to this with my boys
Yeah,
in a boombox. Yeah,
that guy with the boombox is the real MVP.
he is the hero, and yeah, he was definitely like, is he gonna play Black Betty? What's it?
Yeah.
There's so many things in this movie. It's hard to talk about them all. Even at that scene where he's sitting there with Vicky, and he pulls out his lighter, and it's like a huge flamethrower.
Yeah.
Just to light candles. It's fantastic. Vicky she's someone from the comics, and she's
Yeah, I know the name.
yeah, mostly a reporter. She's in some of the Batman games, like real background character.
Hmm.
Michelle Pfeiffer wanted to play her, but ultimately got reserved for the next film because I just like Catwoman a lot more, and I think that was, yeah, let's do that. They do have a line mentioning her in the second one as well, so it's not completely just dropped. There is like some reasoning and explaining as to where's she now, because it doesn't reprise her role again.
Who played her?
Um, I'm not sure. Vicky Vale.
You just said in the credits, Vicky Vale played
Yeah,
herself.
yeah, played herself. Yeah, she was originally supposed to be blonde in the comic books, but then there was a printing error and her hair came out red, and then her hair was red in the comic books for a long time. So it's kind of, I don't know if it's ironic that her hair is now blonde like it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
but there's something else for you. Uh, this version of the Joker reportedly has the highest kill count of any Joker incarnation. Now, I don't know if that's true, but when you think of all the people he gasses in the museum and the health products and the
I
gas
mean,
he put the end in the city, I
did
don't
they
know.
really give a number on how many deaths were from the health products ban? Because that could have been,
Yeah, I don't
anywhere
know.
between like a couple hundred to several thousand.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, if you're a man that's obsessed with another man in a black rubber suit, you'll notice these things because we're just kind of weirdos. At the start, there's a newspaper, and like Vicky's taken photos of these bodies and like dead people.
Yeah.
It was from a place called Corto Maltese, and that's an island in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, which might be my favorite Batman movie ever. It's just incredible. It's like a two-parter movie, and each part's about an hour and 10 minutes. So really, you can watch it as just one movie, but that animated movie is unbelievable. Like, I get chills. I get adrenaline. It's fantastic. We'll have to watch that at some point. But it was one of Tim Burton's inspirations for this movie, and so it got a little wink and nod, that island, which is in it. Now, I got two more, and these are really, really funny. So, Adam West, who played Batman in Batman 1966, admitted that he was disappointed that he was not asked to reprise his role in the movie. He was 61 years old in 1989.
He could have done it.
He could have done it. Come
How
on.
old was Michael Keaton when he made it?
I don't know. I can find out. Hang on.
Probably near 60 now.
38.
Oh, yeah.
It looks pretty good for 38. Not gonna lie.
That's a really bad haircut.
Yeah.
I thought his hair was really silly.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. Now, this is something I've known about for a while, and I wrote it down and it's the last bit of trivia I got. In some TV airings of the film, the cuts to the final battle removed the attempted helicopter escape and Batman tying Joker's leg to a gargoyle.
So he just like pushes him off the roof.
No, well, they couldn't add more footage that wasn't there, so you'd have this entire Batman movie, right? Building and building and building. and they made it seem that the hero had just managed to kill the Joker by simply just punching him enough times in the head and throwing him through enough walls and plywood. And the movie would just cut to credits. I'm sorry, I find that so funny.
I want to find like a clip of like where exactly they cut it,
Like, that
and
feels
they
like...
stopped showing the Joker.
That feels like it's a meme, you know what I mean? Where they, like, something funny will happen and then it just, the meme where it jumps to the credits and has that music playing.
Yeah.
You know? I love the quote though. These made it seem like the hero had managed to kill the Joker by simply punching him.
Yeah, you could get fucking like brain hemorrhage from all of the blunt force trauma.
Yeah, he just hit him in the face with the glasses and it just ends like. The more you think about it, the funnier that must have been watching that movie on TV as a kid and not knowing what the hell just happened. Oh, it's fantastic. So that's all the trivia I got.
Why would they even cut that? That's weird.
I don't know. I think it's because Joker dies. I don't know. I mean, he
ain't the
kills
first person to
like,
die.
No, think of like the news reporter room, the Action News or whatever. That's a little throwback to Action Comics where it all came from. But Action News, the first woman that starts like laughing on air, the anchor, and then dies. The reveal of her face with the grin, that's horrifying. Like, there's some really scary stuff. They allowed that, but not, showing Joker falling to his death. I'm not sure why they did it. But nevertheless, it's really funny that they did. And
I did think it was weird, like, when they were in the newsroom and they showed the picture of the two models and they both had the, like, grotesque smiles on their faces. It's like, did no one at the news think there was anything strange about it?
Yeah, we're going to show you some very graphic images. There is some really genuinely creepy stuff in this movie. I love the scene after Joker's been in the vat of chemicals and he's having the half-assed surgeon try to fix him up and Joker's just trying to take the bandages off his face. That, like, as he's leaving, he just swings his arm and knocks out the light bulb and he's, like, walking away like Frankenstein half put together, just giggling in the dark. It's so terrifying. Or when he's like, you see the tools I have to work with, and it's all these saw blades and knives. Like, there's some stuff that's definitely not for kids, and I don't know, I'm a huge fan of it. How dark they went with it and went, yeah, this one's not for kids. This ain't your dad's Batman. This is our Batman. There's also the scene after he goes back, kills, I can't remember the mob boss's name. Like, the very first time you see...
or something.
Yeah, the very first time you see Joker. After he sits down with the newspaper, looking at, at the Batman, and he's like, wait till they get a load of me. Just that's just the right lighting that he looks terrifying. Because he looks like in that moment, the character isn't actually smiling and giggling. He's just talking seriously, and you can see the grin with the shadows and the way it's done.
This movie came out after The Shining, right?
What year was The Shining? 1980. Yeah, 1980.
Yeah, it was earlier than 89.
Yeah, 9 years beforehand. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But...
kind of actually crazy to think how, like, the 80s were 10 years long.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nuts.
It's just like, we just, like, equate, like, oh, it came out in 81, it came out in 89, they both came out in the 80s. They must have come out around the same time.
Oh, yeah. I started thinking of the lighting, and imagine if the movie opened with, I'm Batman, motherfucker.
So were they, like, gonna make it, like, all like that? Or was it just that one line?
I think it's just the one line.
That was so out of place.
I'm on the roof. What are you? I'm gonna let you live, but you gotta tell your friends about me. And then, like, what are you? I'm Batman, motherfucker. That is so funny to me. Oh my god, that's amazing. So, I was talking about, gonna talk about the Batman premiere. The Batman movie was happening. Bob Kane was extremely excited. He hired out a limousine, all this stuff, because he likes to live as if he is Bruce Wayne. Invited Stan Lee and said, "Yeah, you're coming.
Sigma
Get in the
male.
limousine." Sorry.
Sigma male.
Yeah. He really thought he was that. How much he was, I don't know. It took a credit for a lot of things that weren't his.
Well, I mean, he probably made a lot of money off of Batman.
Oh yeah, when
So
Batman
he
took
could
off.
probably afford to live like Bruce Wayne.
Well, Bob Kane was someone that really wanted to be Bruce Wayne. He was not a rich kid. He wanted to have the money and the women and you have all that while being a billionaire superhero. Like it's it was what he wanted to be. It wasn't
Who
an
can blame
alien.
him?
It wasn't an alien from another planet or something. It was just I want a guy that can do everything and anything. Like, and he's a normal guy and he's just got a lot of money. That's it. That's his superpower. I'm rich. And
It's
anyway,
the best one, honestly.
anyway, he invited Stan Lee, got him in the limo and everything, and he was like real smug to himself. Like, Batman's got a movie. What's Spider-Man got, huh? What's Spider-Man got? He hasn't got a movie. All this kind of shit. Stan was just being himself. He's just kind of humble, like, yeah, nah, congrats, it's awesome.
Kind of weird to think how Bob Kane was supposed to have a cameo in the movie, which is what like Stan Lee was doing for all of the Marvel movies.
Yeah,
He would always cameo in them.
yeah. But
Was some Spider-Man Raimi trilogy the first Stan Lee cameo in a movie?
um,
It's the first one I know of, at least.
he might have been in the first X-Men movie. That was the year 2000. Yes, I think he was. He was on the beach in the first X-Men movie.
I haven't seen that one.
They're good movies. They are. The original, the original X-Men trilogy works like the original Spider-Man trilogy. One was really good and a breakthrough. It was different, and because of the timing,
Is
it
the
was
one
a little
that's
bit.
like not so great called Days of Future Past? Because I've heard that one's not good.
No, that's my favorite one. That's the best one.
I must be thinking of a different one then.
Yeah,
I've heard one X-Men movie just really, really is not
Oh yeah,
good.
yeah. That's the Wolverine. Sorry, X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, that's the
Is that the one
Wolverine
with
is a different one.
Deadpool in it? But he doesn't speak?
Yeah. Well, you got X-Men, then X-Men 2 or X2, X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past, The Wolverine is in there somewhere. Then you have X-Men Apocalypse, and then there's Logan. You got the Deadpool movies as well. X-Men Dark Phoenix, and then there's the New Mutants. There's a lot of... It's so confusing. You got X-Men Origins Wolverine, then you got The Wolverine, and then you've got fucking Logan. The order of these movies makes no sense, but...
Like half of these aren't canon to each other, I imagine. Or maybe they all are.
Nah. Well, the X-Men timeline is the most confusing timeline ever. It's just... It's
I have actually
so
heard people
screwed.
say that before.
Yeah.
That the X-Men timeline is fucked.
It is. It's so gone. It's like if...
So is it like all the ones with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine are in one timeline at least?
Hugh Jackman is Wolverine in everyone.
Oh, that's a fucking bummer.
Even when the movies take place in the 60s and then they're back in the year 2000. Yeah. But they're all in the same timeline. It's not like... Oh, it's so confusing. Anyway, I was just going to say the original X-Men trilogy. The first one's like Spider-Man 1 where you can feel like the aftermath of the 90s kind of flare into it.
Yeah.
And then the X2 or X-Men 2 was the best of the trilogy. It was like, oh my god, this is really up. They've upped their game. And then the third one was the studio interference. They're trying to do the big story, like how, Spider-Man 3 tried to do Venom, which was a big story. They did that version of X-Men's equivalent with Dark Phoenix. And, yeah, it wasn't as great. But the original X-Men trilogy, it's worth seeing. Anyway,
Maybe we'll have to do podcasts on those ones at some point then.
yeah,
If
they're very good. I personally was never a huge fan growing up. You know, I was much more of a Spider-Man,
none
original
of this
Spider-Man
has
movies.
anything to do with Batman
Yeah,
in
well,
my
how did we
position.
get in this topic? This is our professional podcast, people, where
It's
we just
just
go on tangents.
one little. You start with one little digression, and then that just leads
Yeah,
to
it was the
so
Batman
many.
premiere, then Stanley. Oh, we're talking about Marvel now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, DC. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk about your franchises and your characters, but you're not making it easy when your movies are
yeah.
terrible.
Come on, you're still doing. You're still. Let's get back to Batman.
I love the scene where Bruce Wayne hasn't revealed himself for the first time, and he's like following Knox and Vicky Vale, and they're like making fun of his costumes that he's bought or antiques, and Knox is like, "Oh, hey, yeah, can you give me a grant?" Bruce Wayne's just actually like, "Oh, hey, Alfred, give this guy a grant." I don't know. I love I've just got that much money. I can be
Yeah, I
smug
always
about it.
love that about like pretty much every iteration of Bruce Wayne that I've seen, where he just has functionally infinite money to do whatever he wants at any time.
Yeah, yeah. The money is just an endless
Like
pit.
in the Dark Knight, where he's like, "Oh, will they let us move the tables?" And it's like, "Yeah, I bought them."
So yeah, I just bought the place. Yeah, no, it's great. It's the real. It's such a subtle flex and like diss to the other person. Like with Knox, like, "Hey,
Hmm.
can I have a grant?" Picking on him, he's like, "Yeah, nah, let's give him a grant." He
Yeah.
walks away like a badass. Then he's got 3 cameras behind that mirror. I'm not sure
Hmm.
why there's 3 cameras pointing in like the same room. I think one's moving, but man, that man likes to spy. um, yeah, I'm upset with the state of DC at the moment. I mean, this is the only time I get to talk about it and have people listen because most of the time I'm just trying to concentrate on the movie I'm reviewing or what's happening. But
I mean,
the 2 movies they revealed that they're doing or trailers, we got another trailer for Black Adam and then a trailer for Shazam's sequel, and that was it. And Marvel
no
announced all of
news on
Phase.
the Batman.
No, they hadn't even confirmed it yet, but it's gonna
I
happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Considering how big it was and how hard it sequel baited with the
oh
Joker
yeah,
reveal at the end.
I I personally don't want to see the Joker again.
Yeah,
I'm a bit burnt out. I love the
they really
idea.
just keep bringing him back.
Yeah, I actually really love the idea of doing Mr. Freeze again. Um,
Arnold Schwarzenegger reprising
no,
his role.
no. Oh, there's an episode from Batman the Animated Series, which is the definitive
Ice
Batman to
and
me.
you.
No, uh,
What killed the dinosaurs?
it wasn't the Ice Age. Stop it. um,
Ah.
there's an episode they did called Heart of Ice, and it won an Emmy for this kids' Batman TV show in the 90s. And it came out shortly after the second Batman movie, which we'll talk about in about a month's time from now. And
Isn't it gonna be in like 2 weeks?
oh yeah, 2 weeks. Sorry.
Because we're doing Nobody next week.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
spoilers.
Um, that's a great movie. I
Oh
don't
man,
know when these podcasts are coming out. Is this one coming out like now, or is it gonna be a while?
I'll be getting it as soon as I can. But
Yeah.
I should stop talking about this. um,
Uh, no, let's just go into every single step of your behind the scenes process.
I mean, I've pretty much given my thoughts on Batman '89. I love the movie.
Mm.
There's not much that's wrong with it. Jack Nicholson steals the show. He gets top billing in the opening credits as well. His name shows up before Michael Keaton's. He was just in. Michael Keaton was reportedly nervous talking like and acting with Jack Nicholson at that point in his life. He was like, "Oh my god, this is Jack Nicholson. He just owns the screen and chews up any movie he's in. How the hell am I going to act with this guy?" So we've got 3 more movies after this, and at least the next one is also very good, but it's good in a different way. I mean, seeing Danny DeVito as the Penguin, it's just kind of priceless. It's pretty good. I don't know if he overdoes it a bit much, but I think that's kind of the point. Catwoman is amazing, but we'll get to that in 2 weeks' time.
I
So,
don't have much else to talk about. It was
uh,
great having you on. Um,
oh, thanks, man. You know, it means a
I
lot to
really
me.
hope you make another guest appearance.
Please
At
welcome me
some
back to
point.
the plastic surgery addict support group. I've had such a
Yeah.
blast here. I
Mm,
thought that was very fitting considering, we're talking about Jack Nicholson and his prosthetics and stuff.
yeah.
Um, and I guess before I go, I'm not sure how much time I'm going to get to talk about animated Batman movies, but what?
I'd talk about him at some point.
Yeah, we probably will at some point. But the animated movies, they just dominated live action movies for the longest time. They just took the best stories, animated them, voiced them with the best voices for these characters they have, and just kept pumping them out. They have always smashed Marvel at it. And it's only been in the last 5 years or so they've kind of slipped away. But goddamn, they need to, like, live action wise, up their game. Marvel released all of Phase 5 and things from Phase 6 and announced like 20 projects, and DC's like, yeah, Shazam 2 and Black Adam with The Rock. We got The Rock.
Shazam 1 was supposed to be pretty good, right? I never saw it.
Which one?
Shazam 1. The
Uh,
one that came out a couple years
Shazam was
ago.
good. It was good in the way that Ant-Man is good. The
Oh,
first
yeah.
Ant-Man, I got no complaints. It was very entertaining and it's got some funny stuff. But, that's not what you want to count on as your crutch to run the entire show.
Yeah.
DC's state at the moment is very discombobulated. Like, they've got no direction. Are we going to try and do a connected universe? Are we going to try and, we've got the Batman now. What do we do with that? They've got a Flash movie that is in trouble, man. I don't know if you've heard much about that.
Nah.
Oh, man. So, Ezra Miller, who played the Flash in the Justice League movie, they've been trying to give him a solo movie. And I love the Flash. I just want to find out exactly what it is he done. But he was after like filming most of it, he got arrested for like throwing a table at someone in Hawaii. I think he kidnapped someone as well, like a week
What?
later, and got arrested again.
Well, I need to look into this.
Yeah, you find out for me because if I smash on my keys, it just makes too much noise. But he, like week after week, he just kept getting arrested and doing more and more dodgy things. And so, in terms of trying to release this movie and a press tour, you can't take Ezra Miller on a press tour. This guy's insane. How do we release this movie or market it?
Ezra Miller, right?
Yeah,
That's
Ezra Miller.
Apparently he's accused of holding children on a farm with guns and marijuana.
I'm telling you.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the Flash is nuts, man. He's moving quick because he's doing it like every week. And yeah, there was this idea that they were just going to release the movie straight to streaming, but they've put so much money into it, and they wanted to do basically their version of the multiverse of madness, where you can cross over into different timelines if the Flash runs fast enough in time that he can go back in time and change things, change the future, all that shit. Different actors can play different characters, all that stuff. Michael Keaton's Batman is in that movie. Michael Keaton is back, baby. But at what cost? I don't know what they're doing. And then they've also got Ben Affleck as Batman there again. But you've also got Robert Pattinson who's playing Batman again now. And it's just so confusing the direction that DC want to go. They really want their own Kevin Feige to just run the show. But honestly, the interconnectedness of the MCU is really to its detriment at the moment. Like, everything has to be connected. And the problem now is everything with phases 1 through 3 of the Marvel movies has a purpose and reason for being there, because all this is going to culminate in these characters coming together like the Guardians and the Avengers to take down Thanos at the end of these phases.
Yeah.
Phases, 4, 5, and 6, whatever, is what Daredevil gonna fight Kang the Conqueror in like the Avengers 6 or whatever down the end of the line, or is She-Hulk gonna come into this? You know,
I want to. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about
yeah,
to you about. These aren't related. It's just recent Marvel stuff that you haven't been making videos on lately.
yeah, no, go for
Because I only found out like the other day that Multiverse of Madness was already out. Um,
it. Yeah, no, I meant to review it months and months and months ago. I've got it already here on 4K on disc.
oh yeah, what was that one like?
Uh, well, it was a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 experience.
Oh,
And the problem is, you've got Sam Raimi who does Sam Raimi things. He has a style and a vision, and he just wants to go nuts. Then you've got Marvel and the Marvel movie formula, and things have to adhere to a certain structure and ultimately connect to the wider universe and set up other things. And it can't be too
yeah.
much or too stylized to the point of this isn't even in the same universe anymore. They're talking way too goofy.
Isn't it
And it's,
literally in a different universe though?
well, kinda. But the dialogue in like the original Spider-Man trilogy can be a bit hokey, but that's kind
Mm,
of what I like about it. It has a very stylized way, almost like a fairy tale of the way that that story is told, and some of the things Peter says in the poetry and that stuff, it doesn't feel real.
yeah.
That's not. I mean, it happens, but it's not the general way that people go about life talking and acting that way. So, you kind of see Raimi go too far with that kind of style or any style because then it doesn't feel like it's in line with the Marvel movies that have come thus far.
And the
So,
ones that'll come after. It's just a
yeah.
real outlier.
So, the movie is a hodgepodge of here's Sam Raimi taking some bold, bold risks and really pushing the envelope. And then you can see Marvel like pulling him back and then going cameo, cameo, cameo. And then Sam Raimi's let off the leash again and kills cameo, kills cameo, kills cameo. And then Marvel try to bring it back, and it's this real tug of war. Ultimately, it is a good movie. I enjoyed watching it, but you can tell Sam Raimi couldn't do what he wanted to do. And so that's why I said it feels a bit like a Spider-Man 3 situation where,
Mm,
Sony back then were like, yeah, you got to put in Venom. Or Avi Arad, more specifically. The
mm.
toy manufacturer first.
Well,
Then
that's where the
produce.
real money is in the movie industry.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah. My problem was, is Daredevil gonna, he's such a street level hero. Is he gonna appear in the final Avengers film? Is Moon Knight, who's so obscure and in his own world, gonna somehow make it there? It feels like now more of
Ish.
the like,
Yeah, no, yeah, we talked about Moon Knight, the twin two of us a while ago. I
yeah,
also wanted to talk about the She-Hulk thing that's come up recently. What's
yeah.
that one like? I know how big of a fan of the Hulk you are,
I am a huge fan of the Hulk,
so you
and
must love it.
it's. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Um.
So what's that one about? She's like a lawyer. It's like Better
Yeah.
Call Saul, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It started as soon as Better Call Saul finished. The lawyer shows keep going. Um.
They're like, all right, the spot's opened up for a lawyer TV show.
Yeah. We got to
We
get
gotta
this
get in.
going next week. Let's go. We'll work the VFX artists to death. Let's get it going. Do you know, like, there were reports that VFX artists became extremely depressed when they saw the slate for phases 5 and 6 of the Marvel movies? Because they're announcing that many projects they just can't keep up, and it's why the CG is
It's
becoming more
kind of
sloppy.
fucking seeing like the roadmap or whatever you call it for all the shit
Yeah.
they're gonna release. It's honestly just silly how far they have planned.
Yeah, well, this is what I was trying to say. It's become about quantity over quality now, and because they're getting so expansive and so deep and exploring all these obscure characters, the problem is it doesn't feel like they're going to bring all these characters together to, fight a huge threat in an Avengers movie. It feels like they're going to bring some of them, half of them maybe, and that's why those first three phases, each movie was important. This, it feels like, well, no, you don't have to watch this, you don't have to watch that, and it's losing what made it special. Um, I thought after Phase 3 the MCU was going to decline because that
Wait, holy
was
shit! I just checked. I just brought up a fucking Phase 4 like timeline thing. Apparently, they're coming out with a new Blade.
yeah, we got a new Blade movie.
It's gonna have Wesley Snipes.
No, it's not going to have Wesley Snipes in it. And I'm not sure how they're
In
going to
the
go
plane.
making a Blade movie when they're going to have like the Disney Plus banner slapped on it. It's I
I'm just
don't know.
thinking of the fucking the scene in one of the old Blades where like they're in like a shower, just an actual shower of blood,
Yeah. The sprinklers of blood and shit. And
and
then
then
then then it
that
zooms out in the Disney Plus logo, then the click.
Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
face on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to go. But
Probably.
anyway, I feel
I
like
highly doubt we're ever seeing Deadpool in the MCU, but that's probably
that is
Who
happening.
owns Deadpool?
Deadpool is happening in the MCU.
Oh, it is.
It is happening.
Oh, can't wait.
So, Marvel bought out Fox fucking a couple of years ago now, it feels like, because the merger happened so long ago. So, everything that was under Fox's banner, like, what happened was, back when Marvel was going bankrupt in the late 90s, they started selling properties just to keep afloat. So, they sold Spider-Man to Sony, biggest mistake ever. They sold Hulk to Universal. They sold the X-Men, the Fantastic Four to Fox, and all these properties.
And now Disney's buying them all back.
Well, Disney was like, hey, we want to buy, X-Men back and the Fantastic Four. They would be amazing to have in our Marvel universe. And they're like, no, we know how big superheroes are. You ain't buying them back. So they bought the company. Disney was like, all right, we're just buying Fox. You're going to be branched under us. And now we can really control what happens at Fox. And so, yeah, since that merger happened.
I'm reminded of, I like that spatula so much.
I bought the company.
company.
Watch our second podcast from eons ago.
Yeah.
Where we talk about you.
That was the second one?
That was the second one.
Holy moly.
Yeah, man. It was probably going back. I'm not sure how the quality is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we've droned on long enough. We're not even talking about Batman 89 anymore, but
Yeah.
I just want to thank everyone for hanging out.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to just catch up on what's going on and talk about some things that are happening. And we did talk about Batman. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Batman 89, please check it out. I'm very much looking forward to your thoughts on the next one because it's really good and it sometimes is my favorite. So eager to see what you think. Not eager to get to the third and fourth one. The third one I don't mind, but the fourth one
Fourth one is
struggle.
Batman and Robin, right?
Yeah, I can't do it anymore.
Um,
If you want to listen to more amazing podcasts,
I'll let you handle that, man. Maybe this is the outro.
this is the outro. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
They're
did.
already listening to it. It's meta, you know?
It's meta, very meta. I
The
got the
outro is us trying to come up with one.
I got the intro down, Pat. That's when people are here. Getting to the end though, no one's here now, so I haven't thought this far.
Just like I don't know, end it.
This
here, I
podcast needs an enema. Woohoo. I'm going to do a proper outro for us real quick. If you haven't already, consider subscribing if you want to hang around and hear us talk about the rest of the Batman movies. But it won't just be Batman focused if I didn't bleep it already or hid that we're going to be talking about something different next week and we're going to intersperse it with some other movies. So stick around for that. If you haven't already, consider liking the video because it helps a lot, or the podcast. Shit, these are all going to be uploaded separately on like different platforms now. I'm going to start moving them all over. So when I say like the video, which I might have said in a bunch of them, there won't be a video to like if it's on Spotify, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you could just have like YouTube re-upload it.
Yeah.
Upload it from YouTube or something in the title or the description or whatever.
Yeah, this is the outro. We're just going to let it fall apart here.
That was what I suggested 2 outros ago.
Yeah, no, it's getting out of hand. All right, we're going to go now. Thanks everyone for
You're
watching.
stealing my ideas.
I'm stealing your... bro, yeah, okay. I'm stealing your ideas. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.